are simplifying roots. So the learning target of this video is I can simplify square roots and cube roots. So when we are talking about simplifying, we did estimating in the last unit. In this unit, we are simplifying. So we're still going to leave stuff underneath that, radical sign, but we're going to take out any perfect squares or any repeating factors. So when we are doing that, when we are simplifying, there's one core idea we would like to focus on. That core idea is kind of silly, but it's 2 under, 1 out. So this idea is looked at let's do something that's very simple. Square root of 8. I want to simplify the square root of 8. It's not a perfect square, so it's not going to be able to have just one number that comes out. So the way that we do this is we look at the factors that make up 8. So 8 is looked at as 2 times 2 times 2. So when I hear this 2 under, 1 out. So I circle 2 of the same and I pull them outside. So this is like 2 on the outside and 2 under the radical. So 2 times the square root of 2 will give me 8. You box it and you walk away. You do not have to simplify any further because the square root of 2 is not a perfect square. It's not going to come out with a perfect number. Okay, so let's get into some practice problems first. We're just going to go over a couple more things. You can do this in 2 different ways. The way that we just did that one is looking at the factors of a number. You can also look at the perfect squares. So that is, if we're looking at that square root of 8, it's also equal to 4 times 2. I know that 4 is a perfect square that I can get a square root of, so that'll be equal to 2 times the square root of 2. Both of those ways work. It just kind of really depends on whether or not you know the perfect squares that make up a number, or if you want to look at the factors inside of it. So we're going to do a couple different examples here. First, I'm going to talk about finding factors. So that's what these first examples are. So when we are looking at factors, we are figuring out the numbers multiplied together that will equal the end result. So 75, I know that I can pull out a 5. So when I pull out a 5, it is going to be 5 times what will give me 75. So 5 times 15. 15 again can be broken down into 5 and 3. And then look at there. I have 2 of the same thing. So if I was finding the square root of 75, I found 2 factors. So I know I need 2 under in order to pull 1 out. So this is like the square root of 5 times 3. I have 2 under, so I can pull those 1 out to be 5 times the square root of 3 is the same as the square root of 75. They are equal equations. Take a look at a bigger number here, 96. Now, we might not know all the different factors that make up 96, and that's okay. But I do know that 96 is definitely divisible by 2, and 2 is a prime factor. So I can do that first, 2 and 48. Look at that, 48 is divisible by 8 and 6, which can then be broken down into 2 and 4, 2 and 3. 4 can be broken down again into 2s. Look at that, I have a lot of common factors here, and 1 that's not. So let's rewrite this. If I'm doing the square root of 96, it is equal to square root of 1, 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we need that 3 in there. So remember, it's 2 under, 1 out. So we'll circle two that are the same, that'll pull one out, two that are the same, that'll pull one out, and then I'll be left with these two under. So I will have 2 times 2 times the square root of 2 times 3. We can simplify that to be 4 times the square root of 6. Box it and walk away. Okay, let's get into one bigger number here, and then I think we'll save some of the cube root ones for class. So let's look at what are the factors of 125. So I know it's a multiple of 5, 5 times 25. If you know that 25 is a perfect square, you could stop right there, or you could, look at all the different factors. So if I'm looking at the square root of 125, that is equal to square root of 5 times 5 times 5. I need 2 under to pull 1 out, so I get 5 times the square root of 5. Box it and walk away. Hopefully this was helpful in understanding how to simplify our square roots. We will do simplifying cube roots in class, and I will also have another video so that you can practice. But the big core idea to remember is 2 under, only 1 out. So if I have 2 of the same factor underneath the radical, I can only pull 1 of those numbers to the outside of the radical. Hopefully this helps. Please bring any questions you might have to class.